Hey guys, in this video, you will learn how to add a beautiful background video to your landing page to make it look more gorgeous. So we are going to make this simple landing page. It is very simple and pretty. We have a background video. On top of that, we have an overlay, and that overlay just blends with our background video to make the video pop. And also we have a hamburger menu. If I click on it, a navigation slides in. And also the links has some hover effects you can see. And if I close it, the navigation slides out. And we have some text on top of the video and a button with a click effect. And all of these are done with vanilla HTML and CSS. We need to use 10 lines of JavaScript code, but even if you don't know JavaScript, you can still follow along. So if you are excited about this project, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel. It lets me know you are enjoying the content. So let's get started. I have already written a blog post about it. You can use this for your future reference. I will put the link on the description. Alright guys, so I have a basic project set up on my text editor. This is the index.html with some boilerplate code. And inside the project, we have a media folder with the background video and a cover image. Later I will tell you why we need that. And inside the icons folder, we have our hamburger menu and hamburger close menu icon. And we have an index.js file and a style.css file. Both of these files are empty. And by the way, the video that you are seeing is made with some clips of Taylor Swift's Sparks Fly music video. And her new album has been released recently, so I thought, why don't I just recreate the landing page of Taylor Swift's website? And all of the resources and codes can be found in my GitHub repository, so check that out. Okay, so first we will make the background video, then we are going to do other stuffs like header, this title, button, hamburger menu, and so on. So first of all, we need to add a video container with the class of video container. So .video container. Now I have used emmet to generate the HTML tags in case if you are wondering. And inside the video container, we need to add our video. So video. And the source will be /media/background.mp4. And also I want the video to be autoplayed. Then it should have a loop. And also the video should be muted. And after the video, we need to pass an empty element for the overlay, which will have a class of overlay. Okay, so let's see what we have now. Okay, so this is what we have for now. So let's fix that with CSS. So first we need to reset the default style. So select everything with asterisks. I want padding to be 0. Then margin will also be 0. And box sizing will be border box. Now let's select the body. I don't want to have horizontal scrolling on my web page. So to do that, we need to use max width of 100 view width. That means at maximum, it should take the entire screen width. And overflow X. For the horizontal overflow, it should be hidden. That will prevent our horizontal scrolling. Now let's select the video container. Video container. Now I want the video container to take the full height of the web page. So min height will be 100 view height. And also max height will be 100 view height. And also overflow should be hidden. And now let's select the video itself. So .video container, then space, then video. This will select the video element inside the video container. Now I want to make the video container position relative, and the video itself should be position absolute, and it should be aligned to the video container itself. Now if you have any confusion about CSS position or how to align items with CSS position. I have made an entire video about it, so you can check that out. I will put the link on the description. Actually, let's make the video container position relative. Now let's make the video position absolute. Position absolute. Left would be 0. Top would be also 0. Width will be 100%. Height will also be 100%. So let's see what we have. Okay, so it is looking like this. We have some extra space on left and right. So we need to fix that with object fit. So object fit will be cover. And now it is fixed. It is taking the whole width and height of the container, and it is also not overflowing. But there is a problem. If I shrink the screen width, by the way, you might see some lagging on the video because of the video. So if I keep shrinking the screen width, you will notice that it is always showing the left side of the video, but we always want the user to see the middle of the center of the video. So to fix that, we need to use object position center. So object position, it will be center. And now you will always see the center of the video, not the left side. Sorry for the lagging, guys. Okay, so you are seeing always the center. Now let's quickly add our overlay, and later I will comment out the video because it's very lagging. So let's select the overlay. So dot overlay. Now I want to apply the same principle for the overlay that I've applied for the video itself. I want the overlay to be position absolute and align it to the video container, and it also should take the full height and width of the container. Again, position absolute. And actually I will just copy these properties. And let's make a background. I will paste the color. And here is our overlay. We are not seeing anything. By the way, I have picked this color from the Taylor Swift official website, in case if you are wondering. But before I fix that, I need to store this color inside a CSS variable so that I can reuse that value. In case if you don't know about CSS variables, I have written an entire blog about it on Cules coding website. You can check that out. I will put the link on the description. So at the top, select root. We are just selecting the root, and inside the root we have to specify our variables. It should be start with double dash, then your variable name. I will call it primary red, and I will just paste the value here. So for the background, I will clear this up. To use a CSS variable, we need to use the var function. So var, and we just need to pass the variable name. So dash dash primary red. Oops, the background color is not working. Let's see. Okay, I misspelled the variable name. It should be double dash. Okay, so now it is working. Now you can use opacity to see the video through the overlay, but I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use blend mode. If you have used any kind of photo editor apps like Photoshop, you should know what a blend mode is. Basically, it will just blend the foreground with the background. So we want the overlay to blend with the background video. And yes, you can do it with CSS, and that's pretty easy. So inside the overlay, use mix blend mode. I'm going to use soft light. I will show you different values in a minute. Soft light. And now you can see the video is now a little bit reddish because the overlay has been blended with the video itself. Let me show you the available blend modes. So I have selected the overlay element, and let's go to blend mode. So if I clear it, and now you have bunch of blend modes available. You can try this out. We have color, color burn, color dodge, darken. Color dodge looks good. It depends on your taste and it depends on the video, the overlay color that you are using, and so on. Okay, I like the soft light, and that's fine for me. Alright, so we are done with the overlay and the background video is almost done, but there is a little bit of problem here that when the video gets restarted on the loop, there is a little bit of background flickering. You might not have noticed that, but there is. So we need to fix that. Now to fix that, I'm gonna add a background image to the video container, and the image will be the first frame of the video. I have already got the image, so if I show you the media folder, so here is the background video and here is our cover image. I'm gonna make that image as a background image of the video container so that when the video gets restarted, the user will always see the first frame of the video, not the background. Okay, so let's do that. Inside the video container, add a property, background image, then the URL function, and pass the path .media/cover.png. I don't want the image to be repeated, so background repeat will be no repeat. Background position, background size will be cover, and the background position will be center so that the background image always stays at the center like our video. So let's see what we have. Okay, so everything seems fine. Let's go to index.html and I'll comment out the video to see the background image. Alright, so we have the image as our background and we are done with the background video. Now I will work on other things like header, navigation, title, buttons, and so on. But I'm not gonna uncomment out that video because for that video my PC is lagging, and we still have that environment because our background is always a video frame, right? And we still get that feeling. So first I'm gonna work on the header. We're gonna add the title with a custom font and also our hamburger menu. So above the video container, I'm gonna add a header with a class of header. So header.header, and there will be a h1 for the title. It will be Taylor Swift, and there will be an empty tag with the hamburger class. We will use our hamburger menu icons as a background image for this element. And we will use JavaScript to change the icons when we will click the hamburger menu. Okay, so we have this now. We need to make the header position fixed so that it gets floated on top of the background video. So let's go to style.css. So at the bottom, let's select the header class. Let's make position fixed. Then top will be 0, left will be 0 2, and we don't see our header because of that position fix. It has been floated and it is behind the background video, so we need to use z-index to bring that forward. So z-index, I will give 20, and now the header is in front of the view. Let's make the font color white. Okay, so it is now white, but just for demonstration, I'm gonna add a background color. So background, just to make our work a little bit easy. And the background will be teal, doesn't really matter here. Now, because of position fix, it is not taking the full width. So we need to manually give the width and the height too. So width will be 100% and height will be 7 rem. Okay, so it is now taking the full width and I want to have some padding inside the header. So padding will be 0 for the top and bottom, and 3% will be for the left and right part. Okay, so we have some padding. Now for the demonstration, inside the hamburger class, the hamburger element, I'm gonna add a little bit of text, and later I will add the icon itself. I will just put a text hamburger. And now these two texts are aligned vertically, but I want them to be aligned horizontally, but on two sides of the screen. So I'm going to use flexbox. If you want to use grid, you can do that. So let's make display, flex, align items, will be center. And this will make the elements vertically at the center. Okay, so now you can see they are both at the center. Actually, let's just move this browser to the same workspace as my terminal is. And that will be much easier to work with. And now I want these two texts to be separated horizontally. So justify content will be space between. Okay, so now the texts are both separated from each other, and that's what I really wanted. Now let's change the font family of the header. I'm gonna use Google font for that. Okay, so this is Google font website. I've already selected 3 fonts: Leto, Mojave, and Nothing You Could Do. Now you can choose whatever font you want. I'm very bad at picking fonts. You don't have to use the same fonts as I'm doing. I'm gonna use them with the import. So I will copy this line. And on top of the CSS file, I'm gonna paste that import statement. And now the fonts are available for us to work with. So for the header, I'm going to use the font family. I'm gonna use Nothing You Could Do font for the header. So I will just copy this line and paste it here, Nothing You Could Do. And for fallback font, it will be cursive. Okay, so our font has been changed. Let's add the hamburger menu, but I'm gonna use that on a different file because the style.css file is getting bigger. I'm gonna create another file, nav.css, and let's open that up. And obviously we have to import that. So I will copy this line, and instead of style, it will be nav.css. So now let's go to nav.css and let's select the hamburger class. So hamburger, we're going to use our background image. So background image, and the path will be /media/icons/menu-open.png. And obviously I forgot to remove the text from the hamburger element. Okay, so we don't see the hamburger image because we need to add some height and width. So height will be 1.5 rem, width will be 2 rem. Okay, so it doesn't look good. We need to add background repeat. Value will be no repeat, and background size will be cover. And now it is looking good, but we also need to add a cursor effect. So cursor will be pointer, and now if I hover over it, it has a cursor effect. Now when we will click the hamburger menu, the background image should be changed, and we're going to do that by adding a active class on that element. So if the active class present on the hamburger element, then the background image should be a cross icon, not a hamburger icon. But by default, the active class will not be present in the element. So let's manually add the active class. Later we will delete that, active. And we will add or remove the active class from the element with JavaScript later on. So let's select the hamburger class again, but this time we also want to select the active. Now don't put a space after hamburger, because if you do that, CSS parser will gonna assume that you are trying to select an active class inside the hamburger menu. But if you don't put a space, then the CSS parser will try to select a element that has a both hamburger class and an active class. Big difference, okay? So here we will change the background image. This time it will be /media/icons/menu close.png. Okay, so this is the icon, but we need to add some width to fix the issue. So width will be 1.5 rem. Okay, so now it's looking good. Let's remove the active class. And again, we have our hamburger menu. And let's just remove the background color from the header. Okay, so now we are done with the header. Now we can work on the actual navigation. Okay, so if I click on the hamburger menu, our navigation looks like this. The navigation is taking the full height and the width of the screen, and it has a background color, the same red that we have used for our overlay, but this time we are going to use opacity. And you can also see a sliding effect when we close or open the navigation. Okay, so let's do that. So after the header tag, we need to add a nav tag with a class of navigation. There will be a UL tag, and we need to add some list, and inside those lists there will be a link, anchor tag. So li, there will be 5 links, and inside every single li there will be a anchor tag or a tag with the class of nav_link, and all of these links will redirect you to nowhere, so we need to add a pound symbol. So let's add text inside those a tags. So first will be home, then gallery, music, about, contact. Okay, so let's see what we have. Okay, so we have this as our navigation. So let's style that. It looks terrible. So let's select the navigation class. Position will be absolute. Top will be 0. Left will be 0. Width will be 100%. And height will also be 100%. Let's add a background color. And the background will be the same color that we have used for the overlay. And remember, we have stored that inside a variable --primary red. We are going to use this variable. So I will just copy this line and paste it here. Okay, so we don't see because of the z index. So z index, and our z index should be lower than our header. Our header had a z index of 20, so it should be less than 20. I will give 15. Okay, so now it is on top of the background video but behind our header. Let's give it an opacity of 0.9. Okay, so now we can see the background through the navigation. Now I want the list to be centered at the navigation, so I'm going to use display grid for that. So display grid, place items would be center. Now place items is a shorthand for the align items and justify items property. It can take 2 parameters. It can take 2 value for the align items, then the justify items. But if you just give 1 value, that will be applied to both of these properties. So I want both of the value to be centered. So I only need to pass center here. And now they are both horizontally and vertically at center. Now let's remove these ugly styles from the list. So let's select the UL inside navigation. So dot navigation, then space UL, list style will be none, Okay, so now we don't have the list style. Let's give a width to the URL. So min width will be 30%. Actually, let's add a background color to it. So background will be teal. Okay, so this is the min width of our URL, and let's give it a max width of 50%. And let's also make the URL a grid container. So display grid. And for each row, I want only one column. So grid template columns. Value would be 1fr. And I want some gap between the elements. So grid row gap will be 3 rem. Okay, so now they have some spacing. Now align those links to the center of their parent. So dot navigation ul, then li, and text align to center. Okay, so now they are at center. Now let's style the links, but I will just remove the background color. So dot nav link, color will be white, font size will be 3 rem, text decoration will be none. To remove these underlines, we will add the underlines when we will hover over them. And font family will be Leto, but I'm gonna store the font family inside a CSS variable because I'm going to use that multiple places. So dash dash Leto font, actually Leto font family, and the value will be Leto and fallback font will be sans serif. Let's add that to our nav link. So font family would be var dash dash Leto font dash family. Okay, so the font has been changed. Now let's add the hover effect. So dot nav link and add the pseudo selector hover. When we will hover over them, the text decoration should be underline, and the font size should be increased. So font size should be 3.5 rem. So let's hover over them. Okay, so you can see the hover effect, but they are kind of harsh, so we need to add a transition effect. So inside the navlink class, not the hover. Okay, so inside the navlink class, let's add a transition property. I want to animate all of the properties, so I will just pass all, and the time will be 0.2 second. And now if I hover over them, and you can see there is a little bit of animation happens very quickly. Okay, so our navigation is almost done. Now we need to add the sliding effect when it opens. Now when the navigation bar will open, it will have an active class, but by default it will stay out of the view. I'm going to use CSS transform property to do that. So let's go to navigation here. So let's use the transform property. Transform. We need to use translate. Actually, I want to move the navigation on x-axis, I mean the horizontal axis. So I'm going to use translate x, and the value will be negative 100%. If I just pass only 100%, then it will move the navigation to the right by 100%, but I want the navigation to be on the left side, and that's why I need to use negative 100%. Okay, so now it is outside of the view. So when it will have an active class, the translate x property will be again to 0. So let's add the navigation with active class. Again dot navigation, and without any space add the active class. Again the transform property. This time translate x will be 0. Now you will not see the effect because the active class is not present in the navigation. So let's add the active class. And now you can see the navigation, but that will be harsh, so I want to add a transition to the navigation. So let's go to navigation, add a transition property. Now I want to transition only the transform property, so I'm not gonna pass all here. So transform, and also I want it to take 0.2 second. Now you will not see the effect because we need to use JavaScript for that. Actually, I thought I would do that later, but let's just finish it quickly. And if you don't know JavaScript, that's completely fine. You can still follow along. That will not be much code. So let's open up the index.js file. And it is completely empty, you can see. And let's first add the index.js file to our HTML. So before the end of our body tag, let's add a script tag. And the source will be index.js. Let's go to index.js file. Now we only need to select two elements, the hamburger element and the navigation element. So let's select those. Const hamburger, then document dot query selector. We can pass any kind of CSS selector. I'm going to use hamburger class. And let's select the navigation. Again, document dot query selector, and the value will be dot navigation. Let's add an event listener to our hamburger element. So hamburger dot add event listener. We need to add a click event, and again our callback function. And here we need to toggle the active class for our navigation and also for our hamburger. So I'm going to create a variable to store the active word. So const active. Now I'm storing it because I'm going to reuse that. Value will be active. So we need to toggle the active class, right? We have a way to do this. So let's type hamburger dot class list dot, it has a toggle method, so toggle, and we need to pass a class that we want to toggle, which is the active class. So if I click on the hamburger, it should turn into a close icon. See, the hamburger menu has turned into a close icon. If I click on it again, it turned into hamburger. Okay, so it is really working. Now let's do the same thing for the navigation. So instead of hamburger, just pass navigation. And actually from the index.html, remove the active class from navigation. So let's click on it. You can see the sliding effect. Okay, so that is really working. Basically, we are just adding and removing the active class from the hamburger element and the navigation element. And it also has that transition effect. And now we can work on this other stuff, the title, buttons, and so on. So first I'm gonna add a content container inside the video container, and I will store all of this text buttons inside that container. And I will make that position absolute and bring them down by 40 or 50%. Okay, so that's the main approach. Inside the video container, let's add a content container. So section dot content container. Let's add a h1 with album title. Text will be red. And this time h3 with the class of subtitle, and the text will be Taylor's version, and there will be another div with an available class, and the text will be available now. Then we need to add a button with a class of order button, and the text will be order now. And here is our content, the button. They're very small and the color is black. So let's style them. I'm gonna create a new file. I will call it content.css. So let's first select the content container. Color will be white. And obviously I have to add the CSS file in my HTML file. So link, actually I will just copy this line. And it will be content.css. So position absolute. Top will be 40%. Left will be 5%. Okay, so you can see the content container has been moved down by 40%. Let's make all of the letter uppercase. Text transform uppercase. Okay, so now all of the text is now uppercase. Let's style the album title first. So dot content container, then inside there we will have album title class. Font size will be 10 rem. Font family will be Mohave, I don't know how it pronounced, and fallback font will be sans serif. Okay, so now it looks like this. I don't know why there is some extra space under the text. I believe it is because of the font. I couldn't get rid of that extra space, so I have to use margin bottom. Margin bottom of -3 rem. Okay, so now it looks better than before. Now let's style the subtitle. So dot content container, then dot subtitle. Font size will be 4 rem, not 10 rem, 4 rem. Then font family will be Leto. I have stored that inside a variable, so var Leto font family. And the font color would be this. Let's make font style to be italic, and let's give some margin to the bottom, 3 rem. Alright, so it looks like this. Now let's style the available now text. So I'll copy this line. So instead of subtitle, it has a available class. Font size would be 2 rem, and the font family will be Leto. So I will copy this line from the subtitle class and paste it here, and it should have an opacity, so opacity of 0.8. Okay, so it looks like this now. And finally we just need to style the button and we will be done with this project. So let's select the order button. So dot order button, we need to add a background, and the background will be the same color as our overlay is. So use var function, then primary red. Actually, let's move this browser to my editor workspace. The color will be white. Padding will be 1 rem. Then border radius will be 5 pixel. Font size will be 1.5 rem. Font weight will be bold, and cursor will be pointer. Okay, so we have this button. Let's get rid of the border. Will be none. And let's add some margin to the top and bottom. So margin will be 2 rem on top and bottom, and 0 to left and right. Okay, so our button looks much better. Make the text capitalize. So text transform, capitalize. Okay, so text has changed. Now if I click on this button, there is an ugly border. We need to get rid of that. We need to use our focus pseudo selector. So dot order button, not hover, it is focus. And we need to make outline none. Okay, so if I click on it, it has no ugly border. Now let's add some effect to the button. When I will click this button, the button should go down a bit. To do that, we need to use an active pseudo selector. So when the button will be active, then we need to add that style. So dot order button and active pseudo selector, and we need to transform, translate Y. We want to move down a bit vertically, not horizontally, by 10 pixel. Okay, so if I click this button, you can see the effect, but that is too harsh. Let's add a transition to it. So transition all in 0.2 second. Okay, so if I click on this button, you can see the effect. So that's it guys for this video. The project is now ready. You can customize it however you want, and obviously you can add more content after the video container. I hope you have enjoyed and learned something from this video. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel, and please let me know if you have any suggestion or if you have any question. Please comment down below. You can follow me on any social media as thatonjon, and I will see you in the next video.